Welcome back to Talking Risks. It's a podcast about taking risks. It's a podcast for entrepreneurs, future entrepreneurs, and the vendors who serve them. Every week we have an entrepreneur or a vendor to entrepreneurs, and they're going to tell us their story, their beginnings, their victories, their losses, and their strategies to achieve their legacies. And we hope by doing this, not only will we and you be educated, but will also motivate you in achieving your own legacy. My name's Eric Reese. I'm the co-host of Talking Risks. I'm also a lawyer. I own a law firm at AspenLawTeam.com. My co-host is Ricky Hall. Ricky?
Hi, everybody. Ricky Hall. I am the founder and owner of Nutrition HQ and Nutrition HQ Franchising.
And our guest today is Tim Burt. Tim?
Hello, my name's Tim Burt. How are you? I'm the owner of TimBurtMedia.com, also MarketingWithTim.com, and we'll get into my sordid past here in just a little bit.
Appreciate you being here, Tim.
Sure.
Awesome. So, as you know, we start these podcasts with something that we call Hot Topics.
Hot Topics.
That's my wife. We did not pay her for that. We were going to use Hot Topics, but we thought we'd get sued by Hot Pockets,
yes.
And I like them too much to get sued by them. But the Hot Topics section of this is what Ricky and I have talked about over the previous week. We're going to talk just a touch about one of the hot topics from last week, and that is the cost of college education. And, of course, that's getting hotter because Joe Biden's administration is contemplating canceling student loans. Wouldn't want to be a creditor under that program. But I read just this morning at 4 o'clock, because I'm old and I just wake up early to pee. But I read this morning that over 50% of millennials. By the way, millennials, the oldest of which are in their 40s now, which make us really, really old, right?
Wow.
But over 50% of the millennials believe that their college expense was not worthwhile. And that's a fascinating article and a fascinating statistic if it's true. Again, it's presented by the media, so take everything with a grain of salt. But it was very interesting to me that the subject, the main subject or interviewee of the article, was a gal who went to music school. She borrowed money to go to music school. She dropped out of music school after 2 years, all right? Then she borrowed money to be a vet tech, all right? Then she got certified as a vet tech. She became a vet tech, and she made $10 an hour and decided she couldn't pay her student loans. And then she went back to school to get a BA in psychology, all right? Now she owes $100,000, and she's currently a vet tech for $12 an hour, all right? And so, wow. Again, I'm not trying to blame the victim if they are victims, but maybe in part what we're missing is some good financial planning. Like, how much will this career make me, and am I going to be able to service the loans? Because she spent $100,000 to be a $12 an hour vet tech, you know?
That's not very sound math. You know, just very quickly, I was talking with somebody earlier today, and he said he was at one of these seminars, way back in the day. He said a room full of 300 people, and whoever was on stage said, everybody stand up in the room. Everybody stood up, and he said, if you are still in the career that you went to college for, remain standing. Everybody else sit down. He said 3 of us were remaining standing out of 300.
Yeah.
Literally 1 out of 100.
Yeah, we talked about that last week, that I think millennials change careers 4 times, and since they're only in their 40s, that's 4 times before they ever reach the age of 50.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I was talking to Tyler Wednesday. We went to lunch, and we were actually talking about the current administration for giving the student loans, and he was like, Dad, I'll credit from it. He goes, but I think it's unacceptable. He goes, it's pretty disgusting. And I was like, it's just a way of buying more votes.
Yep.
That's all it is. Open the border and give back all the student loan money. You're buying votes.
Yeah, and maybe it starts with, although this will never happen, I'm sure, but maybe it starts with some counseling in high school.
I totally agree. I mean, we talked about that before. Financial education is so huge, and very, very few kids coming out of school know how to balance a checkbook. All they know is, I've got a debit card, I've got money. They have no idea about what coming in and going out means.
Right, and so a lot of people might be saying, well, what the hell does this have to do with entrepreneurialism? Well, really what it has to do with is the lack of choices, right? What you might have become if you didn't need to service the debt. And that's not an argument to excuse or forgive this debt, but it's to take debt on with some sort of purpose.
Right, yeah. And it's just like when you open a business and you have to do your due diligence and your business plan to get money from the bank. I mean, why isn't that same process putting in place if you're going to go get all this student debt loan, these loans? Yeah,
correct. I mean, and again, not patting myself on the back, but Talking Risks, the person who edits our podcast is a 12-year-old, and we pay $25 a podcast for the edit, and he does just a fine job. Again, you always have to make fiscally responsible decisions.
And he loves it.
And $25 is a lot of money.
And who knows where it would go from there.
Absolutely.
And that's where you got to find a skill that you actually do enjoy versus checking a box. I've got to go to college. I've got to get this diploma. I've got to get this degree. Oh, that's not working out. Let me go back and get more education. If you're getting more education and you're still making the same amount of money, there's a problem.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, one of my friends on former friends on Facebook, when I posted how happy I was with my 12-year-old, she offered to be his agent, and I posted a meme with Liam Neeson from Taken. I will find you. I will kill you. No agents, all right? So a couple other things that we've talked about. One is really a personal experience that I had. I had a client come to me early in the week, and without breaching confidences, this client is very good at a particular disruptive, even though I hate the word disruptive. The guy who created Facebook thought that was disruptive. It's a freaking internet bulletin board. That's not disruptive. He's just first to market. But again, it made him $1 billion, so I guess that makes him disruptive. But nonetheless, I had a guy come to me, and he's a brainiac. He's an egghead. And he already is pregnant because he did a deal with the money guy. And he signed an operating agreement with the money guy that not only permitted the money guy 60% of his business, big mistake, but it actually had a provision in it which said that all you need to amend the agreement is a 51% vote. So in other words, he signed an agreement that as bad as it is, the money guy can change it, all right? And he said, what do? I've signed this, all right? And I said, well, here's what you do. Here's your leverage. Tell him you're going to quit. Right? Because the money guy always thinks it's the money that makes the commercialization of IP possible. But the fact of the matter is that you got to have the IP to commercialize it to begin with. So some of the smarter folks on this podcast are probably thinking, well, I'm sure the operating agreement provided for an IP assignment. Well, no, it didn't. His New York lawyers, the money guy's New York lawyers, forgot to put the provision in. So the money guy came back to me and said, well, screw you. If you quit, I'm going to go ahead and commercialize the IP anyway. And I said, well, no, you're not, because it's my guy's IP, right? So we ended up with a fair agreement. Again, not patting myself on the back. The point is that you always got to know your leverage in any situation, and you got to exert it.
You do, and you taught me this in 2014. But once you exercise leverage, you no longer have it. So you got to make sure that you execute on the leverage.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, absolutely. And so the reason why I bring it up is I see a lot of business people not really appreciating what their leverage is. And I'll just leave it at this. If you have a good idea, if all you have is an idea, then try to develop it a little bit more. We all have great ideas. I have a great idea for robo boots that will make me fly around the world in 10 seconds. And, I really can't develop that, but it's a great idea. But that's not what we're talking about. If you have a business that people want to invest in, all right, then it is worthy of investment. It is not worthy of you giving up control. And so just appreciate the leverage that you have, right? And then finally, the last hot topic that we've been talking about is the impact, really the positive impact of COVID. And when I say the positive impact of COVID, I mean the positive impact of governmental shutdowns in response to COVID. One of those is we can all work from wherever there's internet. And as we've talked about before, Ricky, a lot of people, I guess, were used to that, but there were a lot more that weren't, including me.
Oh, absolutely. And even for me, I was so anti-Zoom call, just couldn't get into them. And now I'm all about it because I do a roundtable 2 or 3 times a week, and I now know people from around the world that will be at these franchise conventions, and now I know what they look like, who they are, and, I've always been lucky enough to work from home pretty much my whole life, but it's even opened my eyes more, my adult life, my eyes more of how much more I can travel if I want to go somewhere and still keep operations going. We're fully connected now, 100%.
Yeah, I think it's made us, it took me a while for sure because I needed the rigidity of going to an office, which I didn't know, I didn't really know how to break out of that rigidity. But when I started working from home, I watched every episode of Law and Order. That's a lot of freaking episodes. And then I watched every episode twice of Ozark on Netflix, and every episode of Dexter twice. And then finally I said, I probably should be doing some work. And so it took me a while to discipline myself to work from home or work from the lake or work from wherever I happen to be. But that's one of the positive things I think that's come out of COVID. And then the other thing is just the apps and the stuff that now we're used to using. I mean, a small example, I send out bills every month, and clients send me checks. And I'm sure this app was around before, but I really didn't think about using it. I just take a picture of the check, and bada bing, bada boom, it's in my checking account. Yeah. And I just think that COVID has, it's brought us some misery, but man, it's made us more efficient. For sure.
Absolutely. But there's always something good that comes out of chaos like this. Always. Yeah. And you just got to, you may pivot. Yeah. And make a big change in your life. Sure. And I think a lot of people have done that. And I still think the door's open for a lot of people to pivot even more. Yeah. Well, and like we talked about last week, you better get ready to pivot because the economy's going to cycle. Just none of us know exactly when that is, right? Mm-hmm. And so, again, maybe, just maybe, this efficiency is going to make us more able to pivot if and when when the economy cycles. So to me, that's a fascinating topic. And so what I'd like to start off with Tim. Tim is a marketing, advertising expert. So, Tim, take that COVID, let's call it the post-COVID world, and how should businesses, if they should, how should they change their presentation of their value proposition, considering that consumerism has changed? Everybody knows Amazon. Jeff Bezos has made, an extra $20 billion from this whole thing. And again, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Well, kind of I am, but I don't think that Jeff Bezos was behind COVID. Okay, that's probably not true. But the thing is that all these other things have changed. People are probably more conscious of their health, etc. They're wearing masks.
Not because the government tells them, because they're choosing to wear masks. They want to be protected. Everybody's got hand sanitizer in their back pocket. So, Tim, tell us how COVID has impacted your industry.
Well, I think you got to back up for a minute, and let's go back to the very, very beginning of when COVID, a year last March. Mm-hmm. When this hit, every business, I'm talking Amazon down to somebody running a shop on Etsy, okay? Every single business got exposed. Every flaw you have just got absolutely, the sunshine was all over it.
Yep.
And I had when this all started, I said, you watch, restaurants are going to suffer. I didn't think it was going to be as bad as it was, or as it is. I knew commercial real estate prices were going to plunge. I didn't think it was going to be as bad as it was.
Right.
And so what that does, there's going to be some pain, and some people, lost their businesses forever. Get it. But those, you talk about pivoting, those people that were able to pivot, if you're looking for commercial real estate, there is no better time than right now.
Yep.
The prices, dirt cheap.
Yep.
Super dirt cheap. Same that you want an old restaurant? Man, there was a guy, I just read an article, a guy bought the old Eat Right Diner.
Yeah.
Down the street, down there over by
Who was
Busch
that?
Stadium.
You told me about
I don't
that.
know. Some guy. Yeah, some guy. I don't know his name, but
he's a chef.
Yeah, it's going to be a diner.
In the Eat Right Diner.
I love it.
Yeah, and so if you've had an idea for a business, and it doesn't even have to be a physical, tangible, stocking product business.
Yep.
There's no better time than right now.
Yeah.
There's no better time to get in front of people than right now. So if you are still in operation and you are not doing stuff online, and that's really how you're trying to get trying to get people to notice you, I don't know what other kind of sign you need.
Sure.
Seriously, when you jump back to Amazon for a minute. You remember when Amazon, they started bubbling up here, and all of a sudden they said, "Oh, we're going to do 2-day delivery." 2 days, but people lost their minds.
Yeah.
2 days. They're now talking about drone delivery within hours.
Yeah.
Okay. So the whole point is, COVID not only exposed everything, it also sped everything up dramatically.
Yeah.
Dramatically.
I totally agree with that.
I had speaking gigs lined up in Philadelphia, Columbus, a couple other places right as COVID hit, and they all just went, boop, gone.
Yeah.
So now, what are people doing? Now they're doing, we're doing this, virtual, 100 people in a Zoom room, all this stuff, which is great, but I think there is Zoom fatigue. People are starting to get a little worn out from, oh, God, another Zoom call, great,
Got to put my trousers on again.
Yeah, I actually have to, look presentable. But there's no better time to get in front of your target audience than right now. Really, all you got to do is go to the traffic store. Google, Amazon, whatever you want. You can find people. Facebook, doesn't matter. So it made a lot of people uncomfortable, this whole COVID thing, which I think is a good thing because it kind of kicked a lot of people in the butt and saying, man, I've had this idea in my head and now I got to do it. So yeah, it's changed for sure.
Yeah, I've heard some people believe that. And again, it's the shutdowns. It's the economic shutdowns. It's driven perhaps by COVID, but nonetheless, that it got rid of the marginal players. And I think that's a little harsh, right?
It's true.
Yeah. Those PPP loans really saved a lot of my clients, and I'm glad they were there, right? I'm not a big fan of governmental assistance, but you'd be a fool not to take the money. Because someone else will if you don't.
Well, they've been giving it to the people that don't deserve it for many years now, so why not cash in on your chips when you got the holding the right cards?
No,
very true.
Yeah, I get it. So with respect to COVID and how you come out on the other side, Tim, how have you seen it change, whether it's advertising budgets for your clients or methods that they want to advertise? How those changes or what changes are you seeing in that?
There's been a couple. Depends on the type of business we're talking about. Now, let's take Ricky, for example. Okay, Ricky's got physical locations. And all those businesses that have physical locations, you're seeing in ads, people wearing masks.
Sure.
People doing the social distancing thing, which I hate that term, social distancing.
Sure.
But anyway, you're seeing a lot of that. Online, it's another phrase that just grates me to no end is stay safe. We're operating safely as opposed to what, operating recklessly? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
You know, so most of the people in my industry really don't deserve to be in my industry because they play to the lowest common denominator all the time.
Yeah.
We're operating safely. Really? Thanks. You know, like you're talking to a 4-year-old. I mean, come on. So,
do you remember Toyota at the beginning of this? Toyota says, was it Toyota or Lexus? I know they're the same company, but they said, it didn't take us long to realize we're not in the car business. We're in the people business. It's like, really? Because I'm thinking you're in the car business.
No, you're in the car business. At the end of the day, you're selling rubber, metal, plastic, gas. So, yeah, it's been an interesting shift. And I honestly sit back and just kind of laugh because the reaction, if you remember, there was somebody put together a montage on YouTube of all of the COVID spots that started to air.
Yep.
And they mocked every single one of them. And it was like, start with a black and white, B-roll shot of a city, an empty city street, and a piano,
right? And
people, wearing a mask. And all. Like, if this is the best you have, you don't deserve to be in business.
Yeah,
it's like everything we've done with Ricky, every spot that I've done with Ricky, or pretty much, we try to make an offer.
Yeah.
Come in and get this because here's what it's going to do for you, and here's how it's going to change your life and make it better.
Traditional good selling.
Dude, money is always flowing.
Yeah.
Even during an economic downturn. They say, on this economic climate, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Money is always flowing.
Sure.
My job is to make sure it flows to you.
Right.
And how do we do that?
Yeah.
Well, convince someone that you got the best damn thing on the planet.
Yeah. Absolutely. And, I think that's something, you've helped me a lot with radio and doing our spots and getting a message across. But even with COVID, I told my team, don't change your tone. I want upbeat. I mean, we're not going to whistle at a funeral, but,
sure.
you want to be upbeat.
Depends on who died.
Yeah, right. Well, I've got a list.
Fair point.
But when people come in and engage you, or you have an ad running or something, show that you're, life's great.
Yeah.
Because when they come in your store or your business, they don't want to hear about, my dad's got COVID.
Yeah.
You gotta turn it on.
It goes back to the Groupon thing. And I've said this for years. It's what I call the Groupon effect. When Groupon got really, really, really big and started, it became, I was like a verb,
Right.
People would say, I would see these businesses say, well, I've got something on Groupon. Okay, great. Well, what do you have? What's your offer? What are you doing? And we're doing this, this, and this. Okay, fine. And I don't know if you've ever bought a Groupon, and then you go into the business or you get the service or whatever, and it's terrible.
Right.
It's terrible. And I always told businesses, I said, if you're going to run a Groupon, you better treat these people like they are the kings of the world.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, they're not going to come back.
Yeah.
And Groupon's still around, but is it as dominant as it was? No.
Well, first of all, you lose your ass on those things.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. And that's another thing, too. If you are going to do a Groupon and that customer comes in, don't bitch about you doing a Groupon.
Yeah.
Right.
Your job is to get a door swing out of it. Get them in the door, wow them, and then you have them for life.
Yeah, so years ago, when I had invested in this photo business, we had gone up to Chicago, and one of the investors knew one of the Groupon people, right? And he was an ex-Groupon person because he sold for gobs of money before Groupon really kind of, I don't want to say it tanked, but it certainly decreased in value. And I won't say who it is, but he told me something interesting. He said, one of the weaknesses of Groupon is it attracts the customers that you don't want to have to begin with. Yeah. Because they only want to pay 50 cents on the dollar.
Right. Well, yeah, it depends on the business and the offer.
Yeah.
But still, like Ricky said, get them in the door and wow them.
Yeah.
As opposed to,
you're right.
Wow,
there's your chance.
It treated me like crap. I'm never coming back here. Well, then what did you really have?
Yeah, right. So tell me a little bit, and maybe I'm in the minority, but when I'm watching late night TV because I can't sleep and I see an advertisement, usually two thoughts come to mind. Number one, how ignorant are these people who are doing these ads? I mean, I'll give you an example, and I hope this isn't an advertisement that Tim came up with. But the Red Bull ads with the cartoons that a 2-year-old could have done, where the zebra eats the alligator and then he flies out. And again, I was in marketing, because I went to the University of Arizona and I didn't want to be an accountant, which I ended up being. Who grows up saying I want to be an accountant? But I went into marketing, and it was all about theory. Well, you got to understand, it's marketing theory. But if that's marketing theory, to me, that's shitty advertising, all right? So that's one issue I want Tim to speak on, is the quality and the effectiveness of so much of the advertising. But the other thing is this. I often just hit the mute button when the ad comes on.
Yeah.
And how much of, Facebook, for example, an ad comes up and you just skip it. You don't even look at it anymore. So how much of advertisement has become kind of white noise? Yeah.
I mean, the average person will take in about 10,000 ads a day, and that's according to Forbes.
Amazing.
Wow.
Okay. I mean, and honestly, I think it's actually a little more than that.
Crazy.
In my seminars, I have a screenshot.
AspenLawTeam.com, by the way.
There you go.
2001.
I have this screenshot that I took of a baseball game.
Right.
And it was the Angels, and I don't know who the other team was.
Right.
So I just literally went on Google, typed in baseball, like center field camera shot, batter, something like that, and this image pops up. And I use it in my seminars, and I say, I want you to look at this photo. And I said, tell me how many commercials are in this picture.
Yeah.
And the point is, people don't think of a logo embroidered on a seat, superimposed, from CGI.
Sure.
They don't think of that as a commercial.
Yeah.
But it is.
Right.
And in this particular picture, I say there are 8 logos in this. There are 8 commercials here. Like, you got Angels.com, you got this, you got the Lexus is embroidered on the seats behind home plate.
Yeah.
I'm like, but most people
pay huge money for it.
And they pay ridiculous gallons of money to be on for that placement. And then I take a shot from it was a World Series game, and it was the home plate camera, there's like the behind home plate camera looking out into the outfield. And so you look in that outfield wall, and and I counted, I think it's like close to 50 logos.
Yeah.
That you'll only see for just a split couple of seconds.
Yeah. The next pitch is brought to you by
right. I mean, they're to the point now where they're superimposing the logos on the mound with CGI.
It's almost too much.
We're bombarded with it.
Yeah.
We're bombarded. And the thing is, those 10,000 ads, the vast majority get what they're hoping is get implanted into your subconscious.
Right.
So when you're thinking, oh gosh, I sure would like a bag of chips. Oh, Fritos. Man, where did I see Fritos?
But is that true, Tim?
There's a lot of evidence. Some of it's anecdotal, no doubt. It does work. But this is the name of the game is repetition.
Yeah.
Okay. The average buying cycle right now, you get back to how advertising has changed.
Sure.
And not just because of COVID. I think it's because of these things.
Oh.
The cell phones and the internet. The average buying cycle is 22 days and 32 touches. Okay, so in other words, 22 days before somebody will make a decision, but you got to get in front of them 32 times.
Wow.
Well, if that's the case, you got to find every logical way that you can to get your logo, your message, whatever, out in front of them and go, hey, don't forget about us. With Ricky,
So, Tim, how do you cut through the noise? Like when you and I met and we did my very first radio, you're like, you're going to cut your own.
Right.
And I'm like, no, I'm not. And he goes, yes, you are.
It's still great.
And they work. And they did really well. I mean, I'd be in a store in South Bend and be like, is that the owner over there? It's like, I'm the same guy, man.
It's the Ricky Hall.
Yeah.
Right.
I kind of felt famous for a little bit.
And here's a truth bomb I drop in my super high level stuff, but I'll give it to you. If you're advertising, you're marketing, one thing you got to understand is contradiction gets attention. Now just think about that for a second. Contradiction gets attention. Mm-hmm. As soon as I heard Ricky, and we started talking, and I heard his voice, it was so unique. And he made me think it's not. But I'm telling you what, stack it up against practically everybody else on radio, TV, podcasts, videos, whatever. It's pretty unique. Mm-hmm. And I went, there's your key right there. Mm-hmm. Because it's the owner talking about the product. It's his deal. Now, normally I wouldn't, I'm not a fan of that, but in this case it works.
Yeah.
So contradiction gets attention. If you know, like you say, there's an ad, this guy, and he's got literally a 25-minute commercial on YouTube. And I watched it so you wouldn't have to. But this guy, he starts off with a really great headline, and his headline is something like, I know what it is. He says, cardio burns fat, right? It was wrong. And it calories or something like that. I thought, he just jumps in with that contradiction.
Sure.
Because we all think cardio, if I'm doing cardio, man, I'm burning fat. No, you're not. And then he goes on to explain, these berries and these nutrients or whatever it is.
Sure.
So contradiction gets attention. If you take that and you embrace that, and you employ it into your marketing, wherever it is.
Yeah.
Look, I can't guarantee anything, but I'll guarantee if you don't do it, you're going to stay where you are.
And is it because the contradiction is just more memorable in a sea of blah?
Well, it gets attention. I mean, we're all really kind of in the attention game.
Yeah, sure. So this guy, what is it, John something? He's a wrestler.
John Cena?
Yeah, now he shows up with a purple cow, and he's the softer, fun guy who you want to like, right? You want to have a beer with him.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's no tough guy. It's poking fun of him, being able to laugh at himself. I mean, he's riding a purple cow, for Christ's sake.
Right. Perfect example. Contradiction gets attention.
Interesting.
Because we know John Cena is a guy, beating people's skulls in a ring or whatever, and now all of a sudden, hey, look at me, I'm Mr. Nice Guy. John
He's approachable.
Cena.
Yeah. And we like that.
Yeah. Exactly. Depending on your market,
Yeah. Interesting. And I do understand, or I think I understand, that it depends upon what you're selling, your approach perhaps to how you advertise it. For me, I don't go after customers, I go after referral sources. I want people to know who I am, and I want people to know what I do, and then most of my clients come from somebody else. Yeah. But I still, and again, I talk way too much about Zig Ziglar, but I think legend. The dude was just fantastic. I still believe that I can watch an ad like that Toyota commercial, okay, and know it's absolute bullshit. We're in the people business, or just the slogan. We're in it together. No, you're not.
No, we're not.
Yeah, you ain't paying my mortgage.
Yeah, I remember when this whole we're all in this together, and I was like, what is this, High School Musical?
Correct.
We're all in this together.
Yeah.
But no, to your point about telling people who you are, which is great. There's a slogan that I use is, don't tell me who you are, tell me what you do.
Yeah.
Because that's where, this fifth generation, family owned, all that stuff. People don't care. When it comes time to pull out the credit card or hit the PayPal button.
Yeah.
To your point about Zig Ziglar, there's a point in his 85 book, I can't remember the name of it, but he talks about people don't need a 1/4-inch drill, they need a 1/4-inch hole.
Right. Correct.
So when you stop selling the drill and you start selling the hole, watch what happens.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like with Ricky's, all of Ricky's commercials. We've never done an ad, and I don't know how many ads we've done. Lots. Mm-hmm. Probably upwards of 100. Mm-hmm. We've never done an ad to promote Nutrition HQ that says, I'm Ricky Hall. I've got a store in South Bend, one in Bloomington, one here in Evansville, one in here, and we're my son runs the store up in Quincy.
Sure.
And it's. Here's a pill. Yeah. You take this pill twice a day, and all of a sudden you're going to, turn into the Hulk or whatever.
Yeah.
show me what you do.
Yeah.
Tell me what you do. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
I care what you do, and more importantly, I care what you can do for me.
Yeah. Isn't it funny that local car dealers, they always do, they have the same formula, okay? And I think, and we have a car dealership in the family, but I think it's a requirement that local car dealers have kids that look and sound stupid because they always think they're going to put their kids on, right? It's like, hi, I'm such and such Dodge, right? And now let's hear from Bobby. And Bobby goes, I like the Jeep, And it's like, my God.
That a car dealer stuff. I mean, I worked for CBS for 16 years, and I can't tell you. I mean, all these radio and TV salespeople just go nuts for car dealers. It's like they got the money. Like, well, yeah, some do. Not all of them do. But car dealers suffer.
They all have the same commercial.
Well, they all suffer from an overdose of ego.
Yes.
And it's, I'm going to put my kid on the car.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're going to tell me that I'm going to go drop $30,000 on a new car because you got your dog on TV?
Right, the dogs, right.
I mean, seriously?
The collies.
Or the kids, or who, I don't care who.
I like the kids fighting. Bobby goes, I like the Jeep. And Janie comes on, she goes, I like the sedan. And it's like, oh my God.
Yeah, that makes me want to run out.
Tell me this was the first take.
Let me test drive from you.
But you remember it.
Yeah.
Oh, remember. Well, here's the thing.
That is true. But in a bad way.
You remember it, but does it convince you to go there?
Right.
No.
It's like the Progressive commercials with Flo. They've been pounding that campaign for probably 14 years.
Yeah.
With Flo.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's humorous, but that's about it.
It's memorable.
But
does it, at the end of the day, when it comes to insurance, auto insurance, it comes down to one thing.
cheap
Price. And all of a sudden you see Progressive's the highest one or whatever, and you're like, pfft. Well, now we know how they're paying Flo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Years ago, I had interviewed for an associate general counsel position with TWA when TWA was around.
Oh, yeah.
And their offices were right next to the Dome downtown. It used to be called the TWA
That's right,
Dome.
it did,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I was interviewing with the general counsel there, and we were looking over the Dome, big TWA letters on it. It was all an ego thing, right?
Yeah.
General counsel said, well, what's the first thing you would do if you ran this company? And I said, I'd fire the person who convinced you to put TWA on a football stadium, because the way people buy airline tickets is price, right? Mm-hmm. I didn't get the job, but TWA filed bankruptcy 60 days later, so I guess I was okay.
Yeah, that's. I remember it was the late 80s when that sponsorship, national level sponsorship, really kicked in. And the first one I remember was the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah.
That's right.
And man, Tostitos, boy, they took a pounding. But guess what? People were saying the word Tostitos.
Yeah.
And I go back to the if you take any marketing class, practically now, they'll always talk about the new Coke ad from back in 1985. You remember when Coke flipped the formula?
Oh,
and
sure.
it was going to be, we're coming out with this new 100 years, and
right.
we're going to flip the formula. And virtually every marketing person will tell you what a flop that was. And I go, really?
You still remember it?
36 years later, and we're still saying the word Coke.
Yeah. That's right.
So how who's the dummy here?
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Jimmy John's, I think he ran the same commercial for years.
Oh, yeah. Freaky good, freaky fast. Yeah.
That's all he ran. He never cut a new commercial.
No. Why? Because it's repetition.
Yep.
Yeah.
So let's talk about these things like Super Bowl and
my wheelhouse.
And actually, Tim, you go live.
I've been
on Super
live
Bowl.
blogging Super Bowl ads
Yeah.
since 2005 or 6.
Right.
Just did a bunch of TV interviews a couple months ago, national, like San Francisco, LA, Chicago.
So how is that changing? I mean, all I've ever heard, it's ridiculously expensive to be featured or have an ad during the Super Bowl or any sort of similar event. How is that changing, or is it changing? Is it just sky's the limit with respect to price? Or
well, it always goes up, except for this year. It did go down a little bit. You're still talking about, on average,
right,
$5.5 million just to buy 30 seconds.
Wow.
Now, that's not to get the commercial produced.
Oh, right.
That's just to
the
buy
time.
the slot.
Yeah, wow.
Okay? So you're talking $5.5 million on average.
Yeah.
All right? So you figure add another, depending on what your commercial is, add another probably 30%.
Right.
To get it produced.
Sure.
Okay?
Wow. Unless you're Red Bull.
Unless you're Red Bull. But when it comes to Super Bowl ads, I've always said Super Bowl ads are kind of a snapshot of where we are as a society. And if you go back, you can look back throughout history and see, and the whole reason people talk about Super Bowl ads, as much as I hate Apple, you got to, Steve Jobs, that was his baby. He changed two industries massively. One, obviously, Apple, computers, etc. But he's the guy that pushed for that Super Bowl ad, the 1984 Super Bowl ad. You know the one I'm talking about? You familiar with that? It's very dystopian. Got Ridley Scott from Alien to direct it, and it's the one where the girl comes running in and she's got the hammer and throws it at the TV, and they're saying, on April 23rd or whatever, I can't remember the exact verbiage, but it's basically saying Macintosh is coming, and soon, we're going to be more than just a
it's
computer
an event
or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. Well, the thing was, that ad was, I think they spent maybe $2 million back in '84 to get this done.
Yeah.
Huge. But it was the first one, and that ad only aired nationally one time, and it was that one time during the Super Bowl, and it changed everything about advertising because people were when you got newscasters going, did you see the Apple commercial? Oh my gosh, this was unbelievable.
Yeah.
They never showed the product.
Right.
They talked about Macintosh is coming. What the hell's a Macintosh? I don't know.
Right.
But it's coming.
Interesting.
And so you can thank Steve Jobs for that too.
Yeah.
But it's changed dramatically. If you look at this past year's ads, mostly forgettable. I thought we were going to see a lot of people in masks and stuff, and we really didn't.
They were poor.
Well, the thing is, can you name one?
No.
Okay.
Of course, it was such a bad Super Bowl. I mean, it wasn't. I'm not a Kansas City Chiefs fan. It was just they didn't. One team didn't show up.
Well, Super Bowl advertising, any big sporting event, whether you want to buy ads on, is always super high risk, high reward.
Sure.
Because if the game's a blowout, fourth quarter, late in the second half,
or half of the people.
Yeah, seventh, eighth, ninth inning, they're gone.
Yeah.
Right. They're not. So you've lost that.
Yeah.
So it depends on what you want. But it depends on your stated goal. If your whole stated goal is to say, well, gosh, we got a Super Bowl commercial. I would love for Ricky to have a Super Bowl commercial one day.
Sure.
But to what end? Now, if he says, well, I got a Super Bowl commercial.
That's ego.
Yeah.
It's a sword fight.
Yeah.
It's exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
And that goes back to throwing TWA on top of the dome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's all ego. That is not. You might as well go to school and get a $100,000.
Sure. To be a tech,
Loan.
to be a
Right.
vet tech.
But by God, we spent $2 million, and look how big those letters are on top of that dome.
Yeah.
So I just Googled how much did it cost to make the first Rocky, $1.1 million.
Yeah.
And
My gosh.
And you said I knew it was. I thought it was under. I thought it was about 800,000.
Crazy.
And that commercials are $2 million to produce in '84.
Oh yeah,
That's crazy.
But that's a classic. That Apple '84 ad, and I did interviews with people. And I said they would always ask me, well, what's your favorite Super Bowl ad of all time? And I'm like, well, if you had to do a Mount Rushmore of Super Bowl ads, that's the first one you're going to put up there because that's why we do this.
Right.
That's why we talk about this.
Sure.
And there were some people I talked to, some of these interviewers, and they go, oh, wait a minute, which one? What are you talking? I'm like, oh my God. Like I feel old, or they're just not teaching you anything. But
yeah, so years ago, Hardee's used to do these ads. Paris Hilton was in them, as well as other good-looking, very sexy ladies were in it, and they were dripping pickles down their breasts,
the barbecue
and whatever,
sauce and all that. Yeah.
And the thing is that I heard, and I can't remember who it was. There was someone involved in creating those ads, and the person said, we didn't create those ads necessarily to sell hamburgers. We created those ads because People are talking about them at the dinner table. People are talking about them for years to come.
New Coke.
Can you believe what they did? But they're talking about Hardee's.
Right. I always loved that because I remember when those came out, and there would be letters to the editor.
Right.
I can't believe the disgusting Hardee's commercial that
Ding.
the woman. Yeah,
Cha-ching.
exactly. But I don't care if you're listening to this right now, I don't care what kind of business you own. Here's the lesson to take away from this.
Yeah.
Those Hardee's ads with Paris Hilton and the dripping barbecue sauce and all this stuff, and they're washing the cars, and the bikinis and all that stuff, right? Those letters to the editor were written by 55-year-old women who would never step into a Hardee's unless their car broke down and they had to use a phone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's know your target audience.
Yeah.
The target audience for Hardee's is 18 to 24-year-old men.
Sure.
What do 18 to 24-year-old men like?
Yeah.
Hot chicks in bikinis.
I mean,
right. Washing cars with
Burgers
barbecue
and
sauce.
boobs.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
It's funny.
So the people that are going to squawk the loudest, the haters, they're probably not your target audience. So ignore the noise.
Yeah.
I mean, it's...
And who knows? Maybe it did well for Hardee's, but I still can imagine the executives at Hardee's watching that McDonald's clown run around going, mother... We still can't catch him. We got Paris Hilton over here.
No, I think they worked out extremely well for Hardee's because it was actually not long after that is when Hardee's and Carl's Jr. I think is when they merged.
Oh, okay.
And so I think that gave them some fuel to kind of make that whole thing happen.
Yeah, sure. I'm sorry, Ricky, you were going to say something.
No, that's it.
That's good. Those Hardee's ads were classic.
Yeah.
I forgot about those.
Classic.
Yeah.
So where is advertisement going in general, and how do you break it down among industry? I mean, what is the future? I would assume, well, Ricky and I have joked that, people are going to use 2021 is the year that people are going to blame their suckiness on COVID, right? And they already are. It's COVID. It's like, well, no. What do you mean COVID's slowing you down? The bank that I bank with, okay, it took me 3 weeks to get checks, and they go, COVID, and I said, well, where are these checks printed,
Right.
And it's like 100 miles from here. I don't think that was COVID related.
Taiwan, come on.
But where COVID or no COVID, where is advertisement going with all of these issues, the white noise issues, and people perhaps looking at their budgets and relooking at their budgets for 2021? Where is all this going?
VR and AR. I think virtual reality, augmented reality. Mm-hmm. We haven't even begun to scratch the surface on that yet. And I got a buddy of mine up in Chicago, and he headlined out in Vegas for like 15 years as a stage, crazy hypnotist, mind mentalist, one of these deals. And he was telling me about these VR. He's like, "Have you done this?" And I go, "Well, I haven't done it yet. I'm curious." He's like, "Dude, you can put," he was saying, you put this headset on, and the next thing you know, it's like there's some, Tahitian woman in front of you, and she's doing a lap dance or a hula dance or whatever, and I'm thinking, okay, this is basically a new playing field. I mean, literally a ripe, completely new playing field. Mm-hmm. And I think if the virtual reality stuff, if it takes off like I think it will, it's just a question of adoption, how many people are going to do it. Mm-hmm. But when you get into it's like when they started putting ads in video games.
Right.
And people go, I can't believe there's a Pepsi ad in here. Why not?
Yeah.
People are watching it. It's about getting in front of people. So I think what you're going to have is you're going to do they're doing this already with the Warby Parker, the glasses. You can put, you put your face up to your phone. Oh, I can see what I look like in these glasses.
Oh, sure.
It's going to be stuff like that.
Interesting.
But I think it's going to be shoes.
Yeah.
I think you can do full outfits, makeup, like these girls on Instagram love to do the makeup tutorials and all that stuff. So I think there's a lot of stuff there. We don't know where it's headed, but I think augmented reality is like that Pokemon Go. Would hold your phone up and like, oh, look, there's a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Or you move it this way. Well, now it's gone. Oh, wait, no, you got to move your phone back here. So I think there's going to be stuff like that.
So this is development of apps that then folks will go out and sell.
Yeah,
folks like Ricky and whatever.
Yeah, and I
imagine yourself with muscles.
Right, exactly. Or imagine yourself 10 pounds
Lighter,
thinner.
Yeah.
You know, here you go. Imagine yourself with different hair color.
Right.
Or if I'm one of those people like the Hans Wyman.
Yeah. Imagine yourself with hair.
Imagine yourself with hair again.
Right.
You know, so it really boils down to attention. The headline contradiction gets attention.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: we spend all this time, and Ricky and I have talked about this. I don't know ad nauseum. We spend all this time getting in front of people, and you spend all this money getting in front of people. When you have their attention, what are you going to say?
Yeah.
And the example I always use in my seminars, I used to use that, and I used to show a picture of Paul Brown Stadium from Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. Don't hold that against me. Mm-hmm. But I would show a picture of Paul Brown Stadium.
Cincinnati's a nice town. They've really done a nice job.
But I would show this empty picture of the stadium, and I'd say, you see right there on the 50-yard line? I said, now I want you to imagine I'm going to fill this stadium up with 60,000 people who are in your target audience.
Yeah.
Okay? And I'm going to bring you out onto the 50-yard line, and we're going to get the microphone, and I'm going to give you 30 seconds to say whatever you want to these people to convince them to buy from you. Now, what are you going to say?
Sure.
And that's what we're talking about. That's a radio commercial. You know, that's a TV spot.
Yeah, you know, we've often talked about this. Attorneys are generally horrible at selling, and just to give you some statistics, I've been in a number of large firms, and at least 85% of the attorneys in every firm that I've been in have no book of business. And if they do have a book of business, it's because they inherited the book of business, meaning some old white guy died and left them the client. I have never been like that. I built from square one, and the reason I was able to do that is because I read or listened to everything Zig Ziglar ever produced, and he will teach you how to sell. But one of the things that I've always been amazed by is people seem to lack any understanding of how to ask for the close.
Yeah.
You know, tell me what you want me to do. Don't just present me with, isn't it cool? Tell me now that you want me as a client.
Right.
Because otherwise, if all you've done is shown you're smart, then you're in a sea of smart people, right?
Yeah.
Tell me what it is that you want me to do.
Yeah.
The number one reason people do not purchase is because they were never asked.
Never asked.
Yeah. What was it? Something like 80% of the time they never asked for a close or never asked for a sale.
Like that.
I mean, it's insane. Why would you not do that?
It's so easy. Like for me and our guys and our team at the source, like, do you want to get started on this today? That's a close.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You know, you don't have to go. You're going to buy.
No.
I mean, you got to ask for the money.
Yeah,
of course.
And you can close in waves and all that stuff too. But you got to at least start somewhere.
Are they afraid of no? Because they're look, I'd rather have the no.
Yeah.
So I vetted you, and I'm not going to waste any more time with you than be wondering whether, well, maybe they're going to buy. It's like, you know.
Right.
I love the Wayne Gretzky quote. I miss 100% of the shots I never take.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
You got to ask.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so how much do you like the Glenn Ross section where Alec Baldwin is up there? You know, we got a sales competition. First prize, Cadillac.
Right.
Second prize, set of steak knives. Third prize, you're fired. Right? You know, that with Jack Lemmon, where he told him to put that coffee down.
Yeah,
and
coffee's for closers.
My God, I love that stuff.
Yeah.
Always be closing.
It's actually a friend of mine lives in Staten Island. They shot that movie where he used to work. And
Amazing.
He says, I'm watching that movie. And he goes, I'm looking at the office. And he goes, that looks familiar. Hey, I used to work there. You know, it's like they painted it a little different. But no, it's hard sell, soft sell, whatever. Just, I mean, throw it out there.
Sure.
You got to, you know, and everybo's got a different style. Ricky's style is probably different from mine.
Absolutely.
From your, you know,
sure.
So you got to find what works for you, but you also have to know how to read the room. You know, this whole. I love these sales templates. Here's how you close. No, here's how you close to a certain segment.
Sure.
Here's how you close to a different segment.
Well, I'm glad you say that because I've tried just about every way to sell legal services. At one time, I used Facebook. What a disaster that was. But my wife will say, well, Facebook is only good because she's a buyer, right? She's a net consumer
Sure.
of goods. And she said, look, Facebook for me is good if I'm going to buy perhaps travel, right? They're showing me someplace I want to go, or a quick purchase, whatever the product may be, right? But you're not going to hire a lawyer off of a Facebook ad, for sure.
You wouldn't hire a lawyer off of a Facebook ad, but I'll tell you what you would do. You would at least draw attention to yourself that you exist,
Right.
as opposed to, take any of the lawyers that do the TV commercials in any city. One call takes care of it all, the Hammer and all that stuff. Those guys. It's how you position yourself, especially. See, if you're in a very crowded field, but nobody knows about you.
Yeah.
What did I say earlier? Contradiction gets attention, right?
Sure.
So I'm not going to come out there and go, what kind of law do you do?
Franchise.
Franchise. Okay. All right. So you're targeting a very specific niche. You get people with money.
Sure.
Right. They know what they want to do. It's not car wrecks and all that other hoo-ha, right? So it's it's that opening question, that leading question. So you want to own a franchise? ? Something like that.
Sure.
And then the whole term funnel, but then you start baby stepping them down,
Sure.
to the point where they go, "Gosh, I really like this guy." Maybe I should. Or here's a 10-minute video, no opt-in needed. Just watch this video if you want to own a franchise and don't know where to start. Watch this.
Yeah. Sure.
Stuff like that.
So again, it's difficult because we talk to entrepreneurs that are just starting out, small people, small businesses, and we talk to people with. The next episode, we were going to talk to a guy who created a chain of 100 restaurants, right? So what is your advice to entrepreneurs in 2021 as to how to build a marketing or an advertisement plan, what to budget for marketing and advertising? And I know it varies on what they're selling and the type of business they're in and the type of consumers they're selling to, but what are some words of advice that can be used generally? Yeah,
I will tell you this. You ask that question to 100 different people in my position, you get 100 different answers.
Sure.
So here's what I would say. It doesn't matter what kind of a budget you have or what kind of budget you think you have. Mm-hmm. It all boils down to one core thing, and this is what we've done with Ricky. What does your audience really want? Mm-hmm. What do they want? Because here's the thing. In 2021 and going forward, people got too many options to buy stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, if I don't find what I want on Ricky's website or what, I'll go somewhere else. This ain't hard.
Yeah, sure.
Okay?
Sure.
So you've got to know your audience, know what they want, and give it to them in a way that you make it what I call a dumbass offer. Like, I'd be a dumbass not to buy this from this guy.
Yeah, sure.
It's packaged up, it's a deal, it's a coupon or whatever.
Sure.
It doesn't matter what. And we're talking physical products, we're talking services. Hell, look at the streaming wars that are going on right now. HBO. I mean, it seems like everybody's got a plus coming out.
Yeah, sure.
What does your audience want? You got to. If you can't answer that, you should not be in business.
Yeah. So when you say what does your audience want, is that the same thing as? I hate this expression, but what is their pain? What are they trying to solve?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
Absolutely. The first thing I try to do is hit the pain point.
Yeah.
And then here's what I do. Here's the secret sauce thing for you. Not only do I hit the pain, usually I try to in the first 5 to 6 seconds, but then I will make it worse. I will make it to the point where they're going, oh, God, stop, please, stop.
Right.
Yes, a hypnotist friend of mine, Wendy Friesen, I just was reviewing her ads from this is years ago. She was spending $15,000 for one spot on Rush Limbaugh. She was spending $12,000 for one spot on Dr. Laura. She spent over $3 million on radio ads nationally to sell a $97 CD program back in the day.
Wow.
Okay? But guess what this program was for? It was to get people to stop drinking. And the first line of her commercial was, "Are you worried about your drinking?"
Yes. Oh,
full stop. Not directly directed to you, but it was, "Are you worried about your drinking?" What enough? Are you worried about your drinking? In 6 words, she identified her target audience.
That's awesome.
But it's actually a little deeper than that. She's talking to the people that literally are worried about their drinking.
Right.
But she's also talking to people that have family members or friends that they are worried about their drinking.
Sure.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
So she's taken a little bit of a narrow lane and made it a little wider.
Yeah.
And then, but there's all kinds of hypnotic stuff that she uses in that ad. I mean, it's a brilliant ad. And I don't know how many of those things she sold, but I mean, she sold a ton of them.
Yeah.
Ton of them.
Tim, we're hogging your time, but this is fascinating stuff. So, for example, her identifying her consuming audience and their pain, that brings me to niche, right? So years ago, I thought I could build a practice by being that generalist, right? And, I can do that, I can do that. Oh, you need that, I can do that. And I went nowhere doing that, right?
Yeah.
And then you pick a niche, and probably a dumb thing to say on a podcast if we get the impressions that we want from it, but my dirty little secret is my niche is franchising, but I spend 80% just practicing business law, right? Because that's what my clients need.
Sure.
But boy, niche seems to be where it's at, right?
The riches are in the niches.
Yeah, that's interesting. And so, how does a company develop its niche? How can a company identify its niche, even though it's trying to sell so much more?
Well, then the nice thing is we've got access to more data now than we've ever had in any time in human history. So you can, if you think, I know that I have this super secret potion of organic yak's blood, and if people drink this, then they're going to live forever and blah blah or whatever. All right. Okay, how many people? It doesn't take a very deep search to figure out how many people are interested in this.
Sure.
I mean, you can literally go on Facebook and find out life extension technology or whatever, and you can see what kind of audience. At least you've got a ballpark of something to work with.
Oh, of course.
Okay, now if you see there are only 5,000 people on the planet, well,
yeah.
If you sell to 1%, great, you made 50 sales.
Sure. Yeah. That's interesting.
So
where does a business owner find this data? They pay for it, I assume.
Well, it depends on the audience. Yeah, you're going to pay for it, but you can also, if you got a Facebook account and you want to target people in the U.S., you can find your audience and see if it's worth doing that.
Oh, you can drill down to a Walmart one-arm painter.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Google ads, all that stuff. YouTube. We have access to more numbers right now than ever.
Yeah.
Kind of like when you upgraded premium LinkedIn, where you're like, okay, brokers. So you can search all the brokers in the U.S. for franchising.
Yeah, so I looked for referral sources, and a friend of mine runs a network of brokers, and I approached him first, right? We're buddies, right? You're going to let me pitch to your brokers. And he told me how much it would cost to pitch to his brokers, right? And then I paid for premium LinkedIn, right?
Yeah. And
I searched for that company name, and in 2 seconds, I had all his brokers.
Yeah.
With all their contact information.
Yeah.
It's just, it is amazing what's out there if you look for it. Yeah.
You can, and it is out there, and you don't have to pay like you would 10, 20 years ago.
Go back 20 years ago and buy a list.
Yes.
You buy the you buy the email list and all that stuff. Man, No, you don't have to do that.
I love when I get emails now. It's like, would you like to buy a list of all the gym owners in San Francisco? No, I can find that on LinkedIn. Thank you.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, it is amazing. And this isn't a plug for LinkedIn, but I mean,
but LinkedIn does it. Google does it. We'll see with
Absolutely.
YouTube. YouTube, you can drill down to how long somebody watches your the average time somebody watches your videos.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It is amazing.
So the data's there.
Yeah, so the question really does boil down to, again, to kind of put a bow on this, is what do your what are you selling? Do people want it, and where are they?
Yeah.
And is anybody else doing it? And if somebody else is doing it, and here's another nugget for you. You hear all these people say, we got to be first or different. Yeah, I don't know if you've ever heard that in marketing. Oh, you got to be first or different. Let me put a little twist on that. What I say is you got to be first or different and better.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to buy anything from somebody who's first or different and worse.
Absolutely.
Or first or different and it's the same.
Honest belief in your value proposition.
You know what? When I owned my GNCs, that time GNC was at their height, 5,000 stores nationwide, and I think we had 4 stores in the St. Louis area. And we had customers that would bypass 4 or 5 GNCs to come shop with us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you make it...
Because we were better.
Yeah, if you make it... I always used to do this in seminars, and I'd say, okay, what's your favorite... Or name for me a place you can get a burger. Most people would say McDonald's. I'd say, name for me the place that has your favorite burger. Oh, Dave's, bistro down
Hardee's.
in yeah, right. Or and I'd say, oh, now would you drive extra to go get a Dave's burger or whatever? Absolutely, I would.
Right.
Why? Because I can't get this anywhere else.
Yeah.
Right. So it's first or different and better.
Yeah.
So if you're not
I like that better. Yeah, I agree with that.
And a belief that you are better.
Well, that's
right?
why Aspen Law started.
Yeah.
That's why Nutrition HQ started.
That's right.
Yeah. And do it better.
And that's why you left CBS.
Yeah. Do it better.
I told my oldest, and I think I've told you this story. She lives out in Los Angeles. She's in the hospitality business, and she said, Dad, she says, how have you been successful in selling? And I told her, because I honestly believe in my pitch. I honestly believe in what I do. And I said, the funny thing is that I may be wrong, but just my honest belief in that drives that confidence that people want to say, yeah, I want you to be my advisor. It is amazing, right? And then the guy who's going to call you up at 9 o'clock tonight and try to sell you an extended car warranty. We've talked about this before. There's no value there, nor does he believe in the value, right?
No.
Like we talked about, the first car warranty sucked. Why would the second one be any better, right? The only thing I know about these guys that start these car warranty businesses is they're really, really rich. Yeah. Right? And there's a reason for that.
Or in jail.
They don't pay. Yeah, or in jail.
Well, there's that too. And that goes back to the, for a while there, the really hot thing was the telemarketing calling up with the vacation, the timeshares and all that stuff, and I mean, everything's cyclical.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It's still, here's the thing. It's still the same pitch.
Yeah.
It's just a different product.
Yeah. Different widget, yep.
Yeah, just a different widget, yeah.
So, Tim, if people want to get a hold of you, how would they do that?
Go to marketingwithtim.com. That's marketingwithtim.com.
Awesome. All right. Well, Tim, this has been fascinating.
It's been great.
Me.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So, and I know Ricky doesn't want me to do this because we may switch the order, but we do have a couple of guests coming up. We have one founder of a sandwich chain with some Jimmy John's connections. He's also a very good personal friend and a hoot to listen to. And we'll talk about how he built that sandwich chain. And we have a high school buddy of mine, believe it or not, that when I went to college, he bought a trailer. And guess who makes more money? We'll play that game. And I'll tell you, it ain't me. And he's got a fascinating story. So stay with us. I think these podcasts are something that, again, we can all learn from, not from Ricky and me, but from our guests like Tim. Tim, thanks again.
Thank you.
And follow us on Spotify, and that way you get the alerts when we upload a new episode.
Okay, awesome. You going to play the tail music?